Good evening and welcome. Tonight's webinar is brought to you by Ezreinu. Ezreinu is an organization that helps guide and support parents of children and adults with developmental disabilities to the appropriate resources that are out there for them. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on a significant step in many children's lives, preparing for the camp experience. For some, this may be the first time exploring this option, and for others, it may be a return to something familiar. Either way, we recognize that there's a lot of mixed emotions, excitement, hope, and sometimes concern. This webinar is focused on understanding what camp can offer, how to prepare, and how to navigate the journey of sending your child to camp with confidence and support. We're honored to welcome a few camp directors who bring knowledge and compassion to this topic and have extensive experience working with children with developmental disabilities and their families. Please join me in welcoming our first speaker, the founder and director of Yaldeinu, Mrs. Bluma Bar-Horin. Mrs. Bar-Horin, can you please start off by telling us a little bit about your camp and who it's geared toward?
Hi. Okay, so our camp typically is for the students of our school. Just a little background, how and why the camp opened up. So Yaldeinu was a school for children on the spectrum, and we were running 10 months. And at some point, it was probably 3 or 4 years into the school running for 10 months, I got a call from our lawyer, and she said to me that it really, really doesn't look good for a school that's catering to kids on the spectrum, where they need so much repetition and so much consistency of therapy and teaching, to be closed for a full 2 months in the summer. So she highly, highly recommended that we turn our school into a 12-month program. And when she said that to me, I said, I'm not having the kids stay in school, in a school building in the city for an additional summer. What I really want to do is take the school and move it upstate, where we could give them the space and the air and the pool and the outdoors and everything that a camp has to offer. So that's how the idea of Camp Yaldeinu started. It was a long journey till we got to our campgrounds, and Baruch Hashem, so grateful that we have our own grounds now, and we're able to give a really, really fun experience to the kids. So it's really a continuation of school.
Thank you. Now I guess you can get started.
Sure. The first question that I was asked to explain or to answer is, what does a child gain from the camp experience? So the first thing I want to share is that I'm going to say it over and over, the kids have a great time. When I think of camp, I think of fun, 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 fun. And it's all around. The minute we land in our campgrounds, whether it's staff or kids, you see everybody just going, like a sigh of relief. It's just a happy place, a place where everything revolves around the child. Everything is revolving around what our kids need, the schedule, the food, the structure, everything is scheduled around the kids. And it just creates a situation where when everything is catered around the kids are very happy. And of course, the staff is very happy. Just to give you a little background, when we used to have our camp together with other camps, we used to, the other camps would go on trips. And we would come to like supper, and they would say, sorry, today's supper is being pushed off till much later, till the camp comes back. And it was so hard for us to explain to them that our kids need a consistent, regular schedule. Our kids don't do well when there's surprises and there's changes in schedule. So the beauty of having our own grounds and doing our own camp is that we're able to provide that. And it really gives everyone such a security. And believe it or not, the staff enjoy the consistency as well. Every day looks similar in the schedule. Of course, we have a lot of fun activities that change up all the time, but the structure and the schedule really stays the same. And it really, really provides a great safety and a great happiness for everyone involved. Just so the parents know, the day really begins at 6:30. From 6:30, we have staff supervising and really taking care of the kids. And we have special staff that do early morning rotation, and then the counselors come in at like 8:30 to take care of the kids, and the early morning staff gets their break then. So it's really from 6:30 till bedtime, and some kids' bedtime is earlier, some is a little later, and the entire day is just a structure and a fun that's catered to the child. So the kids really, really enjoy it. Another piece that I want to say what the kids gain is the attention. So just to give the parents knowledge and background, we have a total of about 100 staff every half, and a little more than 100, 120, I think it is by now. And we had for each half about 400 applicants. So you could really, really be calm and know that the staff that is coming to camp is really handpicked. We interviewed many girls and we chose the girls that are really, really committed, love the kids, are volunteering to do this with their full heart and their full excitement and passion. And what happens with counselors is they're assigned one child and they have to take care of this one child, and they have no other responsibilities or distractions. So they're able to give this child a tremendous amount of attention, and it's very good. It's really, really good for the kid. The kids thrive on it. They have a great, great, great time. Another thing that they're able to give, which, parents give all the time, but it's something that you wouldn't expect someone that didn't give birth to this child to have, but they have a tremendous amount of love for the kids. They really, really get connected. We always say giving is love, and they give a tremendous, tremendous amount of love to the kids. And the funniest thing is that when we do our switch over from first half to second half, you have to see the counselors are literally crying. They're like, how could I give my kid over to someone else? So it's amazing how connected they get. It's really, really beautiful. Another thing that the kids get in camp, which is so hard to control in a home setting or in a more natural setting, is the food. And this obviously, I can only speak for Camp Yaldeinu, but we're able to give the kids wholesome, nutritious, real food, basic ingredients, no ingredients that are processed. It's really amazing what the nutrition that they're able to get. And don't forget, they're not stuck with, snacks or foods that are really unhealthy for them, because it just doesn't exist. There's no such options. And it's amazing. We get kids that are really, really picky. And because they're not getting juices in between, because they're not getting sugary stuff in between, they really end up eating the wholesome, real food. So it's an amazing opportunity to switch over to really great, wholesome, real food, and very allergen free and allergen friendly. Okay, that's what the kids gain out of camp. Okay. Now for the parents, what do the parents gain from sending to camp? So the first thing I want to say is that the parents get a very, very well-deserved, much-needed break. Our kids are adorable, but they're hard. They're super hard. And they demand a tremendous amount of emotional and physical energy from parents. And parents really need this break. It's something that no one should ever feel guilty about. Sending your kid away to camp is a break that energizes you. And it's something that no guilt, absolutely no guilt whatsoever. It's also an opportunity to focus on other important things, such as, your relationship between you and your spouse, you and your other children. A special needs child is a very big drain. A special needs child takes over. And so it's a perfect time to focus on other relationships that are so important. It's a time to come up for air. Now, as far as feeling guilty about sending to camp, one of the things that I really tell parents, and it's hard for them to understand this, but I see it over and over. We literally, over the years, I could count maybe 2 or 3 kids that got homesick. Our kids don't have a concept of time. They really, really don't understand the concept of time. And therefore, when they're dropped off at camp, they could go the 6-7 weeks without realizing that it's 6-7 weeks, and they're having such a good time that they're not focused on home. And I actually, before I started preparing for this, I checked in with my son, And I said to him, I'm just curious, do you ever miss me when you're in camp? So this applies to typical kids and non-typical kids. And he said, no, I really don't miss you. And I said, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Don't feel bad. He said, I'm having such a good time in camp. I don't miss you. And it really applies the same way to our kids. They really are so involved and distracted and happy with all the activities and all the attention. They really don't miss home. So don't take this as an offensive thing. Take it as a good thing. It's time for you to get a break, and it's time for them to just focus on their fun and their excitement and not to miss home. The trickiest part is when parents do come to visit, and our policy in general is we don't encourage visiting. We really, really discourage it. But sometimes parents just need it. They need it for themselves. They can't handle not seeing their kid for 6, 7 weeks. So we would never say, we're going to deprive you of that. I would never do that. But again, I want to really, really, really take this opportunity to encourage parents to not feel any guilt sending the kid away for 6, 7 weeks, and realize that when you do pop in to visit, it could bring them back to earth, sort of, and make them aware that they're missing their parents. So if possible, if it's something that, a parent can handle, then not coming to visit is really much more beneficial for the kid, because the minute they see their parent, now all of a sudden they're getting homesick. So I think that's so important, and parents should realize that we're really, really serious about the fact that the kids don't have a concept of time for the most part and don't get homesick. Okay. So now for the next question, what are some challenges that might come up? So the first thing is the expectations of things getting lost and things getting broken. Generally, if you're a good labeler, and it's a pain in the neck to label, I hate doing it also for my own kids, but it is so worth it, because anything that has a label, we do lost and found on a weekly basis. So on a weekly basis, we gather anything that gets lost and we try to return it to the campers. And anything that's labeled is just so easy, because we just give it back to the right kid. But anything that's not labeled, whichever way you slice it, ends up getting lost, because between first half and second half, we always have different staff. And it's really hard for people to remember exactly whose is what. So the first thing I want to tell parents is just take the time, take the effort to just label. Whatever you're sending to camp, put your name and phone number on it. It's worth the time, it's worth the investment. And then sometimes just be realistic that you're not going to get back everything you sent to camp, and try not to send expensive stuff, because it's just human. It's just like, as hard as the staff is working and as hard as they care about your kids and they care about their belongings, and we stress it at our camp meetings and we tell them parents spend a fortune, an absolute, sorry about that, some technical
Welcome back.
Okay, so just for the last point, discussing communication for a minute. So communication is so vital, it's so critical, because when you have communication, everyone knows what's going on, and it's so important all around. So what we found, what worked the best, is what we call proactive communication, and we try to send the parents a video or a picture at least once a day. So they get nice regards, nice regards from their kids at least once a day. And the group leaders are the ones that are the communicators. So the actual counselors are not communicating directly with the parents. We have the group leaders communicating, and they are not available till the evening. And what happens is that sometimes parents want to communicate during the day. And what happens is that every person has limited energy, right? So it's either they're completely focused on the kids, or they're focused on the parent. So this is just something that I want to share with parents, that as much as we want to communicate and we know how vital it is, and we know that you want to know how your kid is doing during the day when the counselors and the group leaders are with the kids, they don't have the time or opportunity to communicate. Once the kids are sleeping, we ask the group leaders to answer texts, or to call a parent if it's important and it's necessary. So that's just something to keep in mind, that we're not, chas v'shalom, no one's ignoring or no one doesn't want to communicate. It's just that they're focused on the kids. When we have the kids, we have to focus on them. And it's not possible to also be available and texting and communicating with parents, because that obviously is going to take away from the kids' attention. And my very, very last point is, what I want to say is that it is so important that the parents show some type of appreciation for the people that are taking care of their kids. So the counselors love the kids. They're doing it with their whole heart. They signed up to do this and they're enjoying it and they're getting tremendous amount of satisfaction, but at the same time, they're working super hard. They're really working hard. Our expectations from counselors is that they take care of your child as if it's their own. And I could say 99.999%, they do it. They do it fully. They do it from morning till evening, emotionally, physically, mentally. They're focused and devoted to the child. So we do ask the parents to send some type of appreciation, whether it's a tip, a gift, or even just a card. But of course, we're all human. And when you get positive feedback, obviously, it just, gives you a boost to keep going and to do more and more. So it's just a small thing. Again, it's not, it's not if financially someone's not able to, even if it's just a card, it really means the world to everyone working with your kid. So again, I just want to end off wishing everyone a happy, healthy summer. And we should really, really all, share good news this summer. And it should be great all around for our campers, for our staff, and for the whole Klal Yisrael. Thank you so much for listening.